Look out, Mousy. This is a very sharp needle.
What?
Sorry, I'm polishing a new airbrush needle, and my cat has decided to come check out what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. I thought for a second you had like an uncontained medical needle just sitting on your desk. And I was like,
don't
oh, you
No.
you?
like to live bold.
All
Sharps
right.
containers are for pussies.
Damn right.
Hello, I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbinian. This is the
I
Electric
hope that got on
Metropolis.
stream.
Damn it, I didn't real.
This is the Electric Metropolis video game tour. I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbinian. These lovely people are playing with me. I'm playing with them, and one of them is running a game of Star Trek Adventures, a second edition in this campaign of Star Trek Frontiers. And yeah, I will quickly hand it off to the GM.
And me to the Commodore.
Okay. Commodore's log, stardate 1681.7. I have officially received my first orders as commanding officer of the scouting squadron of the 10th Fleet. With my new position comes more responsibilities and more pressure, but I feel that so long as I have the confidence of Starfleet, I have the confidence of myself. The 10th Fleet is going to convoy and support transports filled with the latest technologies, highest quality resources, and best technical experts to fulfill the Federation's promise to the Zetal labor conglomerate. Before the Klingon War, Ambassador T'Pol completed a treaty of economic cooperation that promised our synthesizer technology in exchange for access to their expertise in the generation of antimatter. I am to take the scouting squadron to Tenra, the Zetal homeworld, to ensure that they are ready for the fleet's arrival and ensure that the fleet's path is clear. My brain tells me that this is a straightforward mission that has no obvious complicating factors and will be executed without issue. My experience tells me that operations of this scale and importance never go as you plan them. End log. Okay, we have 3 directives here. Ensure that there are no abnormal dangers in the path of the 10th Fleet. Ensure all necessary preparations are made for the 10th Fleet's arrival at Tenra, and ensure all treaty obligations are met.
Wow. Zoomed way in.
So, you have been at high warp for a few days and should be entering in the Tenra system in a few hours. This would be the time to give any orders to the other ships before you arrive.
Well, first things first. I'm going to turn to my chair and say, security, status report from the other ships.
Are y'all going to activate them, or is that more pointed towards the Master Chief?
Yeah, Aratana, if you wouldn't mind for now.
Worth activating Kaufman.
That was my question. Are you activating her, or was the intention for Corvinian to activate her, or were you directing this towards Aratana the character?
I guess for the chain of command, this is Kaufman's area of
Okay.
expertise, so might as well.
Yeah.
I was leaving it open because I don't want to necessarily burn a crew support right away, but sure, we like to live bold here.
Okay. Then yeah. Go ahead.
Kaufman will basically do a quick hail ping at everyone asking for a status update.
Control command difficulty. We'll make it 2 because you're at warp. Assisted by the ship's communications command. And the earpiece does do something, doesn't it? It does have stats and STUI.
It does.
Because I remember you keep using it. I just don't remember if we've ever seen it work or like do its thing.
Weapons, galactic toolkit, weapons.
Audio
Uh,
procedure.
Comp range is decreased by 1 when doing communication, starship operations, or sensor ops.
And it doesn't have a minimum, so I think you have no complication range, or they made a typo.
I would presume a typo because you almost 2d20 fiat. You always have you always have a chance of complicating. I clicked on myself, not the ship. Let's try that again. Communications and what was the other half of that? Communications engineering, I believe.
Oh, I said command, but
Command.
I will go engineering because the difficulty is not in ordering them to respond, but in actually getting the ship's equipment to work at warp. Does this stand?
Coffin kind of as she's hand up to her earpiece and trying to get the communication through, kind of turns in her seat and says, "I ain't hearing nothing." No, I'm kidding. Lieutenant Revere, could I ask your assistance to boost the power on the signal? I'm trying to catch everyone while we're still at warp.
Were you using sensors engineering or comms engineering?
Communications.
Okay. Of course.
I'll take an assist unless you had something like
No.
like this doing an actual different task with more power.
No, you just need another hit, basically.
Yeah.
Control engineering work, GM.
That or insight.
I don't do control.
Either going through the standard procedure or like trying to find out the actual source of the issue.
Subspace mechanics is a focus.
Yes.
Groovy. Just do this the normal way.
Is that your specialty? I was trying to think. Some of you have medals or talents that boost one of your focuses, but I think yours from your medal is
Warp core mechanics. Yeah.
Okay. So yep. After Revere, reroutes some reserve power. The communications array receives a clear signal from all 3 of the other ships.
Should be clear now, mister.
Intakava kind of nods over to you and then repeats her and then sends out her request for all ships to report status.
That was supposed to be with 2 nice. For momentum gained as the Valiant Breaker, the Sirius, and the Neptune all sent in detailed reports on their current situation that are useful and can kind of clear up any questions Solaris had about their capabilities, with Commander Hidyat's report being specifically detailed but not overly detailed enough to give a very clear picture of how the Sirius is running.
That's nice. Okay then. We don't have Inverni here, so can I activate another science character to ask what we know about this system before we head into it? Because that will determine what I might send these ships on to do. Excuse me.
If you want to save a support, I've got a science of 4 and did the reading if necessary.
All right, then do you want to do a long range scan of the system and try to see what we're dealing with here?
Aye, aye, Captain. Or Commodore.
Solaris kind of expects this, and she says, "Captain is fine."
Why do y'all come out all squatting funny and all the other ships come out looking normal?
Have you met us?
Yeah.
No, we're at a we're diving.
Yeah, it's all about camera angles.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's forced perspective like the Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
I really want to see that animated movie. I hate I missed it in the theaters.
So you will give me you'll pick a zone. You'll give me insight or reason science. Oh no, this is
Control, isn't it, for sensor
yeah,
operations?
I was thinking that. Yeah, so control science plus sensor science. Difficulty 0 because you're at the science station. And then each momentum can be used to ask about a different zone or phenomena.
I think I'm at ops station, aren't I?
Oh, I had assumed that you were moving to science for free.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So are the zones the gray boxes or the yellow grid boxes?
Gray boxes.
Oh, the yellow ones. Yeah, if it is possible for you to see gray lines from the way I made the map, and there's not really an easy way
Okay.
for me to get rid of that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to be clear. And she did say a long range scan, which would be this band area here, right?
Well, y'all are
I meant colloquially because we are at warp, not in the system yet.
yeah, y'all are outside the system. So, but the range bands aren't really going to matter.
Okay.
Because you're not scanning like at the level of cloaked ship or small craft. You're scanning at like the planetary scale, or like, hey, there's something that's putting out a massive amount of energy because it's like a large starship that's not trying to
Okay.
hide itself.
And do
But-
we know for free which one's the habitable planet? I'm guessing this one.
You can ask stellar cartography questions with momentum.
Okay. So I still need to pick one of these zones, though.
Or one of the planets or the star.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Let's look at the second orbit out, this planet.
Okay.
And what was my diff again?
1.
Diff 1. Okay. I'll roll 2. I do not think I have a focus for this roll. Let's see how this goes. Here we go.
And that
And-
sensor, so you do get that second die.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's 3 successes. On a diff 1. So 2 momentum gained. So that is the planet Tenra, home of the Zydal people. It is M class, approximately 1.05 times the size of Earth. And there are no unusual readings. You have readings consistent with a star system with a few warp-capable vessels. Or a planet with a few warp-capable vessels nearby.
Okay. Your calculations were correct, Captain. That is Tenra, Class M planet, about 0.98 the size of Kate, and nothing unusual to report. Does look like there are a few warp signatures in orbit and in the space immediately surrounding the planet.
Understood. Do you have any bonus momentum on that? Or
Yeah, I think we've
okay.
got 2 float right now.
Yeah, you got 6 on the table.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Can we ask questions about anything for that, or just general?
Anything, yeah. Either another space in the system, another planetary body in the system,
Sure.
or you could ask something more general, but that's open to rejection.
Why not? My thought is the sun and perhaps this gas giant that's going to be on our approach vector.
I will push back the momentum for the star, as even simple navigational sensors show no unusual activity. And it is so large that you could have scanned it a long time ago to get detail that doesn't seem to be differing as you get close. So nothing particularly interesting about the star. I will take the one for the planet near the bottom, though. It is a large gas giant. It is approximately a third the size that it would need to be a brown dwarf. So it is incredibly hot and active, but not quite enough.
Okay.
You do detect some energy fluctuations that aren't easily explained by the nature of the gas giant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Coming
which
from the gas giant or from like
It's like in the
around?
upper layer of the gas giant, there's some readings that don't match the expected readings. Kind of like if trying to think of a good analogy.
Is it like anomalous, or is it just like a environmental, or like sorry, environmental?
That would
Weather-like.
be a different question. Yeah, more detailed information would be a separate task.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not misleading. It is an unusual reading, but not in the it's about to explode sense, or more in like a curious sense.
Yeah. Okay. The USS Sirius has the highest science score out of these ships, so Dolores will spin in her chair and say, "Security, inform USS Sirius to break from search pattern and investigate anomalous readings in the inner gas giant."
I will take Control Command difficulty I'll go ahead and actually take threat because that's half of how this game works.
I thought it was a zero threat game. I thought it was. It's that easy
You
going.
know.
It
Nothing
is a
bad ever
two-threat game.
happens to Kennedy's and
We
the
were all
Fleet.
staying very quiet.
I'll go ahead
Thanks.
and spend 2, and I'm gonna add to the scene guide the trait untested squadron. Both you and you're getting used to having command of other ships, unlike someone across the bridge from you, or like one of the crewmen who used to serve under you when you commanded engineering. You no longer have direct oversight and the ability to watch directly what the subordinate is doing. They have a level of autonomy and authority that you haven't dealt with before. And most of them aren't long serving captains either. So we'll make this control command difficulty 2, complication range 2, assisted by the ship's communications command, and you could get an assistance from the security officer since they're doing since you're using them for communications tasks, although this is also something normally the yeoman might be involved in.
What's the roll?
Control command, difficulty 2, complication 2, assisted
And
by
that's good.
ship's communications command.
All right. A focus in respected Starfleet officers a trait.
That's a long focus, but yes, you can use that trait.
Okay. So that'll bring the difficulty down to 1. And commanding presence. The captain of the Sierras is going to do what I want because I have the aura that makes him want to do so.
Yes.
All right. Have a momentum.
Okay. You've complicated, and so has the ship.
You know what? Let's ride with it. What's the worst thing that could happen?
All right.
Winchester's tone was like, challenge accepted.
Very much
The
so,
audio transmission like cuts out just perfectly enough to make it sound like I'm like insulting the mother of the captain of the Sirius or something.
The Sirius responds back, understood, and changes their course.
Okay.
You did kind of jump ahead, but I let you, so I will let you go back to asking questions if you still had questions about the system.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Sensors. Sorry.
Sorry, I had a mouthful of lo mein there. Okay, so I can ask questions about general questions about any of the planets and stuff in the system.
Yes, or a specific zone. And
Okay.
you can ask questions that that are about the system but don't directly touch on a planetary body or a specific zone. But if they're not, if they're too specific, I might say no.
Okay. Okay. Captain sent a ship to investigate there. So, what about this inner planet?
I'll take that. It is a rocky planet with no atmosphere, and your sensors match what you expected, which is large amounts of antimatter near the planet's surface.
Why did I expect that?
Because that's where the labor conglomerate has its generation capacity. It's not, I don't, not to give the impression it's being mined, it's being manufactured there, slash generated. But that's where they do all that work, because it's way too dangerous to be doing on a place you want to live.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
The lithium refining is a dangerous business.
Well, this is not even the lithium refining. This is straight up
We're making antimatter.
Yeah, making antiprotons and positrons and all of, like, literally the types of things that when they come into contact with normal matter annihilate completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looks like we've pinpointed the conglomerate's antimatter generation facilities on the innermost planet. Widening scan out to the third orbit and planet.
I'll take that. You notice a significant amount of warp traffic, but don't have any records that indicate any training facilities, any industrial facilities, any space stations, or star bases of any kind. In other words, you don't, nothing on the existing map you have suggests any kind of facility that would draw stellar traffic.
Captain, I'm reading a possibly anomalous collection of warp signatures around the third planet. As far as our records go, there are no facilities or bases or any sort of outposts there that would seem to provide a reason for there to be this much warp traffic around that planet.
How peculiar.
Would you like me to continue scanning the system or zero in here?
Continue examining the system for now.
Okay, since we're doing this kind of in order at this point, now we'll go to the fourth orbit. Well, same orbit as the weird reading.
So this planet?
Yeah.
Pushback. Nothing particularly interesting.
All right. And the last planet in the outermost planet.
Oh, the Pluto. I didn't even see that one.
Pushed back. Nothing interesting.
Okay.
All right.
In that case, the captain is going to dispatch the Valiant Breaker to examine what might be happening over here on the planet with the ships. And the last one is the Neptune. The Neptune will visit the antimatter facilities while we go to Tenra. And I picture, all of us are in warp and we all just fork off in slightly different directions.
You fork off.
That's what she told the other captains. You fork off now.
Right. Yeah.
I will take another control command difficulty 2. Assisted by the ship's communications command.
And by Kaufman as well, since she's helping liaise.
You can assist, yes.
Okay, what's the roll again?
Control command, difficulty 2, comp 2, and same traits apply. So I assume it's going to be diff 1, comp 1.
Sounds good. I'm spending 1 momentum, and let's see how this goes. Better than last time.
2 gained. 2 gained, no complications.
Awesome.
Those.
Oh no, it went through. Sorry, I didn't see it go ahead first.
So those ships are dispatched. As you get pull in orbit of Tenra, you get hailed.
Okay. Patch it through.
Ah.
This is the Grand Steward of the Zytal Labor Conglomerate calling a Starfleet vessel in orbit. Can you read me?
This is Captain Solorus, in command of USS Andromeda. I am reading you.
He says, Captain, I must urgently request asylum for myself and senior members of the government and a quick evacuation at that. There's a tenuous situation which has gotten beyond my control.
GM, can I ask a quick insight command roll to figure out what the law is about when people ask for asylum, what the proper course of action is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Insight command Um, difficulty 2. I'm gonna add the untested squadron in on this to difficulty 3 because you have expanded, but only very slightly expanded authority and responsibilities. But that can be confusing because much of what is much of the responsibility and power that is given to flag officers you still do not have, but there's a slight amount that you do have, and that can throw in a lot of confusion, you know.
I have a lot of responsibilities and not much in the way of the power. Yes. Okay, Insight Command difficulty 3.
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have anything that would be useful if they wanted to assist me here?
Nothing even remotely close.
Does the Yeoman have anything that would make him good at assisting here and trying to find the NPCs?
Just like his entire character sheet is devoted to this.
Right.
Okay, we activate the Yeoman and can someone roll as the Yeoman for this? Because I kind of don't want to botch this roll.
I can grab him if Gwen doesn't want to.
I'll go for it.
Insight Command, I'm going to spend 1 momentum.
I will take the yeoman's focus of either Starfleet Protocol or Chain of Command.
Yeah, Chain of Command makes sense.
And you have a talent which I think could be helpful here because all it requires is the character to be activated.
Yeah, but then it gives you. But yeah, it would require giving you a threat.
I didn't want to suggest you should use it. Just that, oh hey, you don't actually have to. That's not tied to a task.
Yeah. I think we.
2 momentum gained.
Nice.
There is no treaty or agreement between the Federation and the labor conglomerate that would require you to honor a request for asylum. So it falls under the general rules for asylum, which is if you think there is a credible threat, if it would not compromise your ship's ability to carry out its mission. And both of those have large asterisks if it's a imminent mass casualty event.
The biggest problem is we're a fleet of archers. We're not exactly primed for taking on a lot of people.
And the last kind of caveat is that that outside of extreme circumstances, judicial punishment is not seen as a valid reason to ask for asylum. Like the Klingons may decide to imprison someone to hard labor for 40 years. That's not a reason that a Starfleet vessel is going to help liberate them from the Klingons, though. If they were going to get executed for a crime and they happened to be in Starfleet space, then you get into a gray area. But generally, judicial punishment or pending judicial punishment is not going to be a valid reason.
Okay. Then, yeah, after conferring with her yeoman for a second, she's going to turn back and say, I would need much more information before I could grant any asylum. However, if in the interim you would like to be beamed aboard our ship, I could arrange that.
He says, then I will organize some senior ministers to come with me to answer your questions. We do not yet have your transportation technology. You will have to provide all of the capacity.
How many persons are you speaking of?
Myself and 3 others.
It will take time, but we can arrange that.
Hey, GM,
Mhm.
how far ahead of the fleet are we?
Oh, the 10th fleet?
Yeah, the convoy.
So you are about 2 weeks for you at high warp. The convoy is probably going to take 3 weeks to get here, assuming it left now. You did leave the starbase before they did.
Okay.
But I did not mention again at this top of the episode, but it was mentioned last episode that y'all have passed what is colloquially referred to as the line of silence, which is Starfleet's attempt to build communications repeaters out here was interrupted by the war.
Okay.
So for a message to get back to the starbase, you add 4 weeks plus the normal time that it would take. So if the repeaters were out here, you could probably still do face-to-face communications, but at this point you're 4 weeks plus a few seconds for the message to reach them.
Right, but they're not going to pop in the next 40 minutes. Is what I was really trying to drill into. Yeah.
No. The earliest is 3 weeks, but they'll be here faster than you could get a message to them to
Right.
get here.
Yeah,
So
I
it
was just
could be less time if they left ahead of schedule.
right. I was more thinking about if we needed to wave them off. Yeah, but either way.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't expect the Admiral anytime soon.
Okay.
All right. Then we will change scenes.
Yeah, and she will turn to Kaufman and say, I want a security officer on any foreign visitors aboard the ship at all times.
Shall I head to the transporter, Captain?
Yes.
The GM laughs again as the commander again gives or the captain gives an order, which there is not enough security personnel to complete.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out, okay?
Where are the trains? Oh, you're moving me there. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, is the captain going down there
Yes.
or okay? Who else is going?
I want a security
we
officer and any other senior staff that want to accompany us.
Oh, she's not. She is not.
do we have any information on the
Yeah. Kaufman isn't yet?
No.
Okay. I'll fix that while you're asking.
technological, specifically weapons level of these people?
Does your talent allow you to ask things without a task?
No, I was just asking if we knew or if I needed to do a task before I headed down. My goal is to.
Yes, I'm asking if you need a task or if you have a talent that lets you do it without a task. If you need a task, then I do have one.
I do not think I have a talent that will allow me to do it. What my ultimate goal here is to make sure and, if necessary, refine the transporter's weapons filter to make sure it does the best it can to disarm our visitors.
Oh, putting down
And I figured
be movable.
I figured if I might need to know what their weapons tech look like.
I'll take that. Insight, engineering, or security. Difficulty 2, although for engineering I'm gonna kick it up to difficulty 3 because you're using more of your broad knowledge about their technological capacity than your actual knowledge of their specific weapon systems.
Okay. Focus in transporters, synthesizers.
No, because this is not a task yet to
Okay.
invoke the transporters. This is just knowing what they might have.
Cool. I think I will definitely. You said diff 3.
If you're using engineering.
Engineering. Yeah. So okay, take 2 momentum and 1 threat for 4 dice, and bold engineering. There we go.
And you can take there is information about this in the computer, so I would also allow an assist of computers security.
No help but no hurt.
Okay. 1 momentum gained. You know that their weapons are generally their technology is very close to Earth circa the foundation of the Federation, with the exception that they have a greater understanding of antimatter than even the Federation does. So you might expect to see things like anti-proton beams, things that you haven't even been able to see, like things like you only have like a theoretical understanding of. But you might expect if they have actually implemented that as a ship type weapon, it might be accompanied by like nuclear or photonic torpedoes, right? Pretty primitive torpedoes. You don't think they have proper shielding systems yet. The last thing the computer notes is that they hadn't developed transporter technology yet, and looking at some of their other technologies, you think they haven't really gotten the push to develop shield systems that comes when you find out what other people can do to you with transporters.
But potentially some advanced handheld beam weaponry.
I have not got to handheld weapons yet. That was only what their large weapon capabilities may be, because that's why I separated this from the transporter task, because I thought it was probably more apt for you to ask about their weapons in general than
Yeah.
So for personal weapons, there's no practical way to use antimatter weapons on a small scale without that being basically like, you know, an army circa the Korean War giving everybody, you know, tactical nukes as a grenade or whatever, right? It's just
Right.
technically feasible as a weapon, but stupidly irresponsible. So you largely expect them to be using phase pistol equivalents. If they've made a pretty big jump in technology in the last couple of years, they might have got primitive disruptor pistols or primitive phasers, but you think you're more likely to see a phase pistol.
Or whatever those weapons were that predated phase pistols that the Andorians were still using in Enterprise.
Oh no, a plasma rifle is worse than a phase pistol.
Right, but there was, I thought for some reason that like the phase pistol was replacing like a deadly beam weapon that had been in use until that point.
No, the phase pistol replaced like a battery powered thing that was largely unreliable.
Or just
There was a pulse pistol or something like that they
That's
used
what
in
it
the
is.
first season or something like that that was
Yeah.
like always it was never enough to do anything with.
And the Makos had pulse rifles or something.
Particle rifles, yeah.
Particle rifles. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would now like to, if necessary, tweak the transporter weapon filter systems to cover what they might have, up to and including stabby stuff.
Oh, that's different. For the energy weapons, you have a pretty easy way built in to detect the kind of weapons you expect them to have because you've used those types of weapons before. Bladed weapons becomes more difficult because you actually have to have the transporter recognize the difference between a dagger and a metal insert holding someone's bones together.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But like,
so you basically have to overcome the hidden one quality as well, which is going to make it a task roll.
Right. So, but can it also work for like chemical weapons? Like not like nerve gas, like pistols using.
So basically, you don't have to alter with their level of technology. They can't develop. They don't have any weapons, any energy weapons that could have the hidden quality to make this more difficult. So there's no task roll. But everyone has access to melee weapons that do have that quality, which would require a task roll. And anything that has the hidden, I'm not going to make you like separate it out into different roles. You basically just have to overcome whatever the hidden value is for what they might be carrying.
But the system is able to detect like chemical propelled weapons, like your standard gunpowder.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, I do want to try and overcome the hidden weapons, just in case they're being sneaky.
Okay. Then control security assisted by the ship's engineering computers security.
Argument for engineering, since I'm doing this through the transporter.
I'm seeing this more as like you're giving a set of detailed instructions to the computer to understand what metallic weapons you might be looking for, and that's much more system security than like engineering. If you were like design
Right.
engineering.
So, okay, take a momentum for did the reading. Sounds like maybe a focus in computers.
Yes.
Okay. That
Or
will let me use-
transporters.
Okay, well, I already have transporters, but we'll take one for computers just because it gives me a focus. And that'll let me use my science score instead of my lower security score. What's my diff?
You said it to overcome your like what different levels of hidden they could have. You're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
do at least one.
Right. Okay. So I tell you what, take 3 threat. We'll go for a try for a diff 4.
Okay.
That will also activate. Well, no, I'm not using engineering, so I don't have bold hanging out there. Maybe I should shoot for 3 since I'm rolling 4, because I don't have a reroll on this. Yeah, we'll try 4. What do you know?
Okay. And does this you have kind of 3 options I can see. One is if the thing is detected, engage like the automatic return and that person goes back from where they came. 2 is it's not turned back into matter and the energy is simply redirected to the ship's reactor. 3 is it is materialized in the in a specially designated spot in the weapons locker. Like there's a weapons locker that the security officer has access to. That's like
Right.
if someone tried to beam in with this, this is where the computer's going to send it.
Let's do that last one. I mean, for all I know, we may wind up having to give them their stuff back. So,
Okay. All right. So
those 2 men look very similar.
yeah,
Yeah, the token maker has its limits.
yeah, they do have different features, but when they're that pixelated, you can't really tell. So we'll put a little flag to note that that's the Grand Steward. Little fist to note that that's the security minister. And a little lock to note that that is the economic minister. So 3 people materialize, kind of recognizing you from the call. The Grand Steward steps down towards you, Captain, and says, "We're very glad that you've arrived, Captain. It's a tense time."
If the rest of you could please clear the transporter pad, we'll continue beaming up your fellows. Thank you.
Yes, I am glad to be of any assistance we can be to your people. I was not made aware beforehand that there was political turbulence on your planet before now.
Well, then we have a lot to discuss. It is. We had hoped to our communications would have reached you earlier, but we understand there was a trying conflict you were engaged in.
Yes. Well, if you will come with me and my officers, we can go to my personal quarters and discuss matters further.
Is Revere the only person standing by the transporter terminal?
Yeah, me and Coffin are basically guarding the door.
Okay. Then Revere, you see an indicator flash on the console that indicates that there was a automated separation during transport. You know that in this case that means there must have been a weapon detected and split off from one of the beams.
So I'll extend one claw and kind of tap the console by the indicator light to try to get the captain's attention on it.
For momentum, Captain, you can notice it. All right. So, Captain, out of the corner of your eye, you see Revere indicate or motion towards an indicator that tells you that unless he did some unless he has done something you're unaware of, someone tried to beam on board with a weapon. That's the only automated process that normally triggers that alert.
Yeah. Well, she's going to turn to the Grand Steward and she's going to say, "Did you attempt to bring a weapon aboard my vessel?"
He says, "Oh, no." And he kind of looks towards the security minister, and the security minister says, I was assured Starfleet could handle security matters. I have no reason to come with a weapon. And they both kind of look towards the economic minister, and he says, I couldn't possibly see what use any of us would have for such a device. I certainly did not bring anything of that nature.
Chief Aratana, if you wouldn't mind examining the weapons locker to see what was put in there.
All right, Captain. And Aratana will walk off to the locker to examine whatever it was we grabbed. I'm not sure where that would be in this map. Somewhere in here? Like in a wall panel or something, I imagine, like a wall safe.
That's a good question. Yeah, because there isn't a dedicated
In here?
armory. So I'll let you say, are weapons normally stored with their only protection being locked crates, or are one of like the torpedo or phaser rooms or the detention cells? The detention cell is one of those used in this purpose, or is it like in the captain's quarters?
I would probably actually put it all the way up here into the B deck. That way, because it keeps it away from invaders. Like it isn't up in the transporter area, and it's not in the
And that's where
the deck area.
That's when I have this is the torpedo elevator. This is like main torpedo storage.
Yeah, so I imagine it's like in secure crates in here somewhere. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll quickly
So
like
you're off.
jog off and climb up and stuff to go look.
Captain, do you just kind of stand there and they stand there waiting on Artana, or do y'all?
Pleasantries are pleasantries. Revere can beam aboard the next members, but myself and Kaufman are going to escort all of these people towards my quarters.
Oh, it's one more person, so it's
Oh, okay.
as y'all leave, the communications minister comes up as well.
All right, then the five of us are going towards my quarters.
What is Revere up to?
Stealing a saucer of milk, one presumes.
I think Revere might head to the bridge, maybe to the communications console, and see if I can't maybe sniff out some of what's going on in this system by eavesdropping.
Okay. Um. Oh, and I will say for at least this scene and maybe the next scene, um, Griffin, you might want to use the support. So, Aratana, you unlock the weapons locker, and the only thing in there is a Doctang, the kind that is unceremonious and designed only for espionage use. It is not made of the kind of high quality steel that families will go to Kronos to get from, a master smith that kind of brings like honor and prestige, right? Our family uses the weapons that have been like the hallmark of status for the last 400 years. It's not that kind of weapon. It is a alloy meant specifically to evade detectors without any adornment, and it is actually a better fighting weapon than most Doctangs, because most Doctangs are trying to hold on to a usefulness in fighting that was kind of worked with Klingon martial arts hundreds of years ago. This weapon is like actively used by intelligence officers and actually works well with Klingon martial arts as they stand today. I will say, you have had the chance to encounter one of these before, but I don't know how much you looked into it at the time. You took one off of the Klingon intelligence officer that was masquerading as a Starfleet commander, but it wasn't like an important thing that drew your attention at the time. So you could ask questions about what you remember in reference to that, kind of like a flashback that as we see that you've interacted with one before, but it wasn't important at the time.
So yeah, a couple things then. So first one, I'll grab onto that is Aratana probably would have examined and scanned it when it was for evidentiary purposes. It's like, okay, here's the thing, inventory, it's this, it has these dimensions. So a basic understanding of what it is and understanding. That way I wouldn't get confused with any other knife we have on us. And also free intel that I could pass on to Starfleet security. So I wouldn't have put on a full like lab about it, but I would have like scanned it and tried to figure out stuff if there's anything special about it, like it's poison laced or anything like that, or neurotoxins or serrated, things like that. If any weird qualities to it beyond just being hidden.
What's your engineering score?
Enough. No, it's 2.
Okay, not to you, but you can give me computers engineering from the ship's computer as it makes its own task roll, because it might notice something with its dedicated actually this would be sensors engineering. it might notice something from its detailed sensors that you're not really trained to notice. That is a comp and a success, so this is going to succeed at the task.
I'll take the complication.
All right. This was manufactured. This had to be manufactured nearly around the same time as the other one was, because there is a metallurgical similarity that says that these were made from the same billet of alloy, right? Rather than two made a couple months later where there might be a couple of different elements pulled from the air in the factory that was used that would be slightly different. These were definitely forged from the same billet. The complication is you don't really know how recent that was. Nothing you can find tells you were these manufactured 50 years ago or they manufactured a year ago.
Does the computer log show who this was taken off of and via transport?
The computer can't identify that information directly, but you've seen engineers do more miraculous things in some of the cases you've had to gather evidence for. So you know that that's possible, but the computer's not powerful enough to do that in an automated
I meant, sorry, to simplify. I mean, who this was on somebody's person, and the transporter separated from them. So who was this? Who had this thing before we took it?
That's what I'm saying. Because they were transported at the same time, the computer doesn't know that answer. But you know the information is in the computer. It's just that the computer doesn't have the power or programming to answer that for you. You need an engineer to do that. You need someone to look at the transporter logs and decipher them, basically.
Right. Yeah, I'm heading to the captain's quarters. I'll put it back in the locker and secure it, though. I'm not going to leave it out.
Okay. Well, that is to say, you also can make that engineering roll if you wish, but
No, it's an engineering roll. I can do it, but it's not my specialty.
It's like me with security.
Yeah.
I'll
kind of just chime the door, really, once I get there. I wouldn't just walk right in.
Yeah. What is it the engineer is looking for?
So yeah, I'm going to try and just like kind of scan communications bands and see, using the computer as well, to kind of see if I can't get, I don't know, news broadcasts or communications between all these ships flying around on planet 3. I'm just trying to gather intel from communications on the current political situation.
All right. I think we'll call that communications security. And I'll say so diff 0 is unsecured traffic that is broadcast. Diff 1 is unsecured communications that are directional transmissions. Difficulty 2 is secured, but like secured for civilian purposes. And diff 3 is secured for government purposes, diff 4 for military purposes. And diff 5 is like like ultra high military encryption for like the most sensitive topics.
Okay. So we don't have any momentum on the board, so I can't use did the reading. I was hoping this would be an engineering thing.
I would give the ship's trait of unconventional crew if it assists here.
Okay.
Because none of this is in the normal mission parameters. And this also isn't really your assignment in the ship's
Evaluate.
crew, but
Right.
but it is a good thing to do.
Okay. I mean, it's not super terrible, but it's not great. All right. So yeah, subspace mechanics is a focus.
Only if you're going for at least difficulty 4, because the difficulties below that don't have a use for subspace transmissions
Okay.
inside the system, right?
This is where I'm missing a human and their powerful momentum generating capability.
There's a human. She's
mean,
at
I'm
North.
Griffin
here.
can
Oh,
come into the scene.
I don't even technically have to be in the scene to do this.
Yeah, but you are on the bridge, so not only could they
Yeah.
get that, you could also offer an assist, like walk over and help if you wanted
Yeah.
to.
Sure.
yeah. Because if I had a momentum, I could use did the reading for this. It's the only thing I was thinking, but I'll take an assist too.
Yep.
I'm just
Uh,
probably going to have to threat dump with my security score.
well, I mean, I can just generate you some momentum because I don't
Oh,
think I'm gonna need to use my determination for anything else.
but I will say, Griffin,
Yes.
unless otherwise stated, you're always going to have complication 3 on any tasks that aren't purely mental because of nerve pain.
Yep. So I'd like to mentally help out then. Trying to figure out how to do this, or what value to spend towards for Spirit of Discovery.
This might have to be a mission directive. None of yours pop out to me as obvious.
Yeah, I was taking a look at logic as the beginning of wisdom, not the end, but
I think that would be a bit of a stretch at the moment.
alright.
I could easily see you using Directive 1.
Alright, yep. I'll spend towards ensure there are no abnormal dangers in the path of the 10th Fleet. Then we have 4 momentum on the table.
Aha. So okay, I will
Um,
spend. Oh,
the only thing I was going to suggest is Griffin, if you wanted, you have a couple of favors with Suzuki, and he
is a hell of a violinist.
I don't think he has anything specific here, but he is on the bridge, and you could use a favor to get him to roll without activating, so that you don't use up a crew support.
How much do you want to assist here, I guess?
Because it still would cost a momentum to get an assist from him as
Right.
a third person.
I mean, with the ability to use my science score, I'm rolling a 14 rather than a 12. So I think I
Yeah.
can probably get at least some. So yeah, I'll give you a momentum. It's a new scene, so the cost doesn't go up. For did the reading,
We're still in the same scene as the beam. The scene's going to change after this.
Oh, I thought there was a new scene there. Okay, so
The scene was going from the talking to the beaming. When y'all were in the transporter scene, y'all were in a new scene that is still going on.
Would you last do the reading?
When I was needing to talk to the computer to program the transporter, so I think it's
Yeah.
still the same scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll spend 2 then for did the reading and a focus in what signals intelligence.
Huh.
Yes.
Okay. So what do we control science, and what are we going to spend here? Okay, so thank you for all this lovely momentum. I'm probably going to spend it all.
All 2 of it.
Also, hello everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
So take 2 momentum and 3 threat for a full net.
Yeah,
And
so
gain
much
2
for-
threat because I showed up.
And so, how much threat was were you giving me, Inslee?
3.
Yeah, so much for only being an hour late.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, there's
All right.
3 crew members who've died because you
Oh.
weren't there, so. Oh my god!
Oh geez,
I
who
can
died?
I can hear
don't
their
think
thoughts.
you need an assist from me.
It's,
I think
I'm-
I'm more likely to make things
I'm
worse.
almost tempted to give Revere a trait here without any reputation spin.
I feel like
Holy-
you just got like the Nixon tapes or something. Like you found the smoking
Right.
gun of everyone admitting to every crime.
Right.
But I tell you what, go ahead and take the trait amateur cryptologist.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Yeah, I can read his
That's-
mail too.
Yeah, because that's like what? 5 to the 5th power.
See if I'm spelling amateur right.
Well, it's all natural ones. There's
M-A-T-E-R.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4.
Are you ready to bust Antimatter Gate right open?
Yeah.
Antimatter gate.
Okay. Well, technically, I still need the ship's assist of communication security.
Best possible result.
Immaculate.
All right, that's it. I'm for the rest. It's complications for me the rest of the night. You know how this goes.
Someone just check the rules
so
from the
that's-
algorithm. I think.
That is stupid.
12 hits.
That's 12 hits on a difficulty 5.
Okay.
So 7 momentum.
7 momentum gained.
So 1 float because you overdid it. You
Yeah.
keener.
0.00064 chance of that.
Okay, what you get for free is
It's lucky
Gonna
Dan to win
do-
in the 3rd race. Okay, pasta. The Olympics aren't.
okay. What you get for free is that this red line that represents secure military traffic a high volume, an abnormally high volume. Like this is the kind of volume of military traffic you've seen only when like the whole 10th fleet was like mustered and the rear admiral was like sending everybody orders all at once. And
Okay.
even that is slightly less than this. You maybe haven't seen anything like this volume outside of wartime. The green, and that's bidirectional. They're going both ways. The communications are going both ways. The green is civilian traffic going between the homeworld and the antimatter manufacturings. And there's a large quantity of that too. For a planet whose population is probably a 10th of Earth's population, they have communication traffic that's exceeding like 500% the daily traffic between Earth and the cities on the moon. The blue traffic is the only one of the three that's unidirectional, and it is a very small number of transmissions that seem to have been sent recently. There are no active transmissions. You were able to catch the transmissions in flight, basically, but they are not continuously transmitting. And that one is the highest encryption of all three. That is the diff5 encryption. So that's what you got for free.
Okay, what was the red again?
Military traffic.
Okay, red military, green civilian, blue a lot less, and most heavily encrypted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we have to dig in and see what is what. And we've got a total of 7 momentum. Okay, so you said I like caught the blue transmission like did I actually intercept that transmission, or did I just sort of go, oh, somebody's talking really securely to that gas giant?
You captured remnants of the subspace transmission and reconstructed it. The transmission had already reached its destination, but the path it used had not yet collapsed back into normal subspace.
So do I just spend a momentum to go like, what did this say, or?
Yes, knowing that you're not on that one specifically, it would be impossible to get a clear transmission, but
Okay.
you will get something.
Well, let me do with the float then something maybe a little bit simpler. Does this encryption or encoding schema match any kind of schema we've seen before, particularly like, I don't know, during the war or something? Like, is it Klingon, or, are we dealing with an?
I'm going to push that back because none of you did intelligence work. The Andromeda was not in commission during the war and is not actively serving as an intelligence vessel. So you have some detail but you don't have the treasure trove that Starfleet Intelligence has, and they have no reason to share it with you.
Okay, so I don't have something I go, oh, this matches like Klingon codes that we've seen.
You do, but it comes back like 48% chance, and it's also the same as like it also has a 32% chance of being secure transmissions of the Vulcan High Council.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Uh,
So okay, yeah, then I'll spin that for what do it say, or what can I reconstruct from it?
okay. It is some type of all clear signal. And it's being transmitted in the local language. So you think it's probably sending the word in the local language for like no suspicion. But there are a couple of ways to use that word, different suffixes and prefixes that could be added, and it's not clear what form of the word was being used. And I will say that I would give you a link, a check based off of that to investigate further, but it would have to be a separate check.
Right. Would I need to do something separate to send an alert message to?
Yeah, that'll come after this. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So the heaviest amount of communication was the green, right? The
In
civilian.
sheer volume, yes.
Okay. So yeah, what is going on here with this military communication between Tenra and the ships?
You are getting some traffic is an admiral giving orders and updates to ships about their readiness for action. But the most of it is transmissions between low-level commanders that seem to try to finding out whether or not they have decided to commit to the action. No one explicitly says what the action is. It seems to be something in context that's understood between them, but they all seem to be trying to suss out who's going to take part and who's refusing to take part.
Okay. And then what's the open civilian or the civilian stuff?
A lot of it is communication between is personal communications. The sheer volume of it is kind of difficult to sift through, but the computer kind of categorizes it that probably about 40% is personal communications of a intense and immediate nature. 10% seem routine, and 50% seem to be media communications. And they have a the computer kind of categorizes it, and you kind of confirm it's lots of communications that seem to be trying to spur people to protest over over some economic policy.
Okie dokie. Anybody else got any good questions from the backs of that?
Not immediately, no.
Okay. So I'd like to spend 2 to create a trait of broken encryption. So basically, blue and red, I've broken their encryption. I can hear stuff transmitted, or I can read that without having to go back and break the encryption again.
What I'll do is, if there is something that would be important with the trait, I'll call it out, and you'll have a 1 point lower difficulty in intercepting it.
Okay.
Rather than just relying on you to guess when to listen, you'll now guaranteed intercept it, but you'll
Right.
still have some need to decrypt.
Sure. Could I do another trait of triangulated receiver that I've triangulated where this went to?
Or at least narrow down where it's
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Right.
No,
Or do we want
but
to do
you
it the other
can
way?
you can do it in the reverse. Whatever is in here has changed position almost in
Okay.
an orbiting pattern, like it's gone around a bunch.
Okay.
But that has given you triangulation on the sender.
Yeah, let's do that then. Okay. So now I think I need to send out some warnings.
That will happen in the next scene.
Very good.
Who died?
No one died.
You did. We ate
Oh.
you for Thanksgiving.
That was me just being super crypt analyst there.
Captain, you have just gone through the pleasantries of offering anyone anything to drink, and everybody's gotten through their titles, and you
The
get
yeoman is cutting the crust off of the sandwiches for them.
Oh, he can be in the room too. You get a ping at the door.
Yeah, she's about to say, "Oh, okay, Grand Steward, let me ask you about," and then she pauses and she says, "Enter."
I kind of step into the doorway and kind of pause. Commodore, may I have a word with you, please?
Of course. And she will say, "You will excuse me," and she will step outside.
The door closes, and Artana, you kind of look around, and you're constantly watching Manor, and you see you have a clear hallway.
I believe we have something of a security issue, Captain. I hold out a pad with my findings.
It says here that a ducting common in espionage was found aboard one of the weapons lockers.
One of the persons being aboard was carrying it, so it is my suspicion that a Klingon operative is in their number, or especially since none of them admitted to it. So if it was a trophy, they would simply say, "Yes, that was my favorite." Whatever. But unfortunately, I do not. The computer did not automatically discern and disseminate who particularly held it. So at present, I would like to ask the assistance of Lieutenant Revere to figure out who exactly has it and possibly consider bringing a potential spy aboard.
Continue your investigation. I will continue to probe into the exact manner of this political issue, and if it is possible, we will move against them. I will not break any foreign dignitaries without good evidence, though, Chief.
So I have your permission to requisition Lieutenant Revere, then, Commodore?
Yes, continue with your investigation. You have full authorization.
And be advised that, ma'am, that we may be dealing with someone who definitely doesn't have our interest, who definitely may escalate matters quickly if they believe they're exposed. So if we're going to move, we need to move very quickly and violently. And accurately, of course.
Understood. And she is going to flip open her communicator, and she would like to grab and she's going to say, "Crewman Shishirin, please arrive by the captain's quarters."
Yes, Captain.
As for the time being, all three security officers will be on duty and keeping an eye on these people. Well, two of them, all three will be on duty. Two of them will be watching these people. She will go back to sit down as if nothing happened.
I'll be heading toward the bridge.
I do apologize, Grand Steward, for that interruption. I had to sign some authorization forms relating to the upcoming personnel transfers. It is unrelated to our current matters. You were informing me about your request for asylum.
He says, yes. Me and my ministers believe that there is soon to be a popular uprising outside the democratic system that we have, and that it has the support of the defense ministry, or the security ministry, though not the security minister herself.
I understand. Do you know why they are doing this?
He says, yes, there's a lot of discomfort. You'll know the treaty that we agreed to had a very tight timeline, and it was our considered opinion in the cabinet that we would take extreme measures to make sure that we were ready to take advantage of your technological gifts as soon as they were present. We took measures like our people enjoy enjoy meat in their diet, like other omnivorous humanoids. So we had a livestock industry, but with your promise of synthesizers, any animal that could not be safely released without ecological consequence was processed early, and livestock facilities were shut down because we believed that your synthesizer technology would eliminate the need for an industry that many were already growing uncomfortable with. There were our large-scale metallurgical industry stood still for many months as we waited on the synthesizers that would allow us to produce some of the more common elements in metals manufacture. He kind of waves his hand. There's many examples like this where many people spent what we thought were only going to be a few months idle without employment opportunities, but it turned into nearly 2 years. And one cannot simply repair a calamity of that magnitude.
I understand. I would like to apologize then for the Federation's inability to hold up our side of the bargain. When do you believe?
It was, I can assure you that neither us nor those angered particularly blame the Federation for your war. Even those who are angered seem more to blame us for not anticipating difficulty rather than you for experiencing it.
I understand. So what would you like from us? Are you simply abandoning it all, going to let the military coup the government, and you simply want to flee towards the Federation?
He says, it seems harsh put that way, but there isn't much I'm aware that we could do at this point. Though your ambassador was very considered. If you are half as considered as her, then perhaps you have suggestions.
It would not be ideal for a democracy to fall to military autocracy and tyranny. If there is any way to save the freedom of the people, I would attempt to do so. GM, what time do I believe that the fleet is going to start arriving with supplies? Assuming all goes well.
Between 1 and who knows how many weeks. But if they follow through on the orders the Admiral gave, 3 weeks.
Relief could come as soon as a few weeks from now when the fleet arrives with the supplies and the food synthesizers. Do you believe there is no chance for you to hold out for those few weeks?
He says, Captain, you have found us in a situation that will change in hours though if we're lucky, maybe days, not weeks.
I understand.
The security minister says, well, we can do what I've been saying all along to buy us some time. All we have to do is fire him. And the economics minister says, we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. As soon as you attempt to fire the admiral, all is lost.
GM, if from my understanding of the treaty, is there anything about in that treaty about the Federation helping maintain their government, or is it a purely economic back and forth?
Purely economic.
There's no leverage in there about, okay.
You do know enough now to give me insight command difficulty 2.
Okay. I'll take it, because I'm unsure about how to proceed. So that sounds good. Insight command, do I have a focus?
It would have to do something with diplomacy or treaties.
I have a focus in diplomacy.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay, that's a focus of yes. And how much momentum do we have? I don't know
None, I
why,
think.
but I
0.
cannot see. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 threat.
Two momentum gained. No, but suddenly the dagger comes to mind. If there's any Klingon influence here, then part of the agreement to end the war was that systems out here would be would not be influenced by military action by either the Klingons or the Federation.
So either of us could do a diplomatic or economic reach out, but neither of us supposed to do military direct action.
Yes, and there was some wrangling to force the Klingon ambassador to agree that the 10th Fleet was not a military invasion force.
Mm-hmm.
Solaris kind of had to hear that Admiral complain a bit about constantly having him walk through some of the transports because he kept claiming there were weapons on board, and basically used all kinds of everything the treaty gave him to slow down the process, but eventually was kind of like forced for want of any more loopholes to agree that it wasn't a military action. So anything like that would give you a reason to interfere to prevent Klingon interference. It would not allow you to intervene with a free hand, though.
Okay.
Because prime
Then
directive.
she's going to say, I will say that all of this rather confuses me, for I feel I am missing a piece of the wider puzzle here. Your motivations, the group of you, seem straightforward enough, but then I do not understand why my security officers found a Klingon espionage style Doctane aboard one of your persons, but yet somehow, when you materialized aboard our ship, our extremely tight security scans detected it and materialized it in our weapons locker.
All right. Presence or insight command
Oh God.
opposed by each of them, as this is you trying to see who reacts
Mhm,
or
mhm.
flinches in a way that suggests they are anything other than just surprised by this.
Okay.
Now, that's what happens if you fail and someone pulls out their other security Doctane that had hidden 6 on it.
Yeah.
Assist from Ensign Kaufman since she's present. She might be able to see who's jumping.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, they pull out like a false tooth that has like a dagger that can like somehow unfold to 12 times its original size.
It's just
Okay.
it's just a moist towelette. It's full of
Okay.
chloroform.
So how much momentum do we have?
2.
2. Okay. GM, a focus in diplomacy.
Certain people
Or
are
this-
supposed to be here for diplomatic reasons.
First of all,
Yeah?
as mentioned before, to show that these Klingons are different than the ones from the Next Generation, I've allowed them to use guile and cunning, normally
Mhm.
Romulan talent. So, presuming there is a Klingon here, but there may not be, that person is going to use 1 threat to increase the difficulty.
Okay.
Um,
So that's a free hit for them, essentially.
We need a triple stat.
a tribble,
we
is
don't- we-
exactly how this problem has been solved before.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is we don't know that trick yet.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know if they've gone on the Great Triple Crusade yet.
Great triple crusade. So stupid.
We don't like to talk about it.
It's like
Oh,
it's
fuck.
their emu war.
Yeah. He lost.
War.
They were less successful than the Australians were.
Only because of time travel.
It's like the emu war, except if the Navy bombarded the coastline and still managed
In
not to
their
kill them all.
defense. In their defense, it's pretty hard to kill creatures that violate like all of the laws of thermodynamics. There's very little you can do at that point.
I guess we're not talking about emus now.
No, I was thinking about tribbles.
No, I'm talking about emus.
No, you must.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna say,
Okay.
have you seen an emu? Those fuckers absolutely violate the laws of thermodynamics.
So yeah, 2 momentum on the table.
Okay, 2 momentum on the table.
That was was a
Let me
lot.
roll for them first, because they're.
Okay.
Oh wait, actually, I take this back. Before we do anything, we're forgetting that 2E actually has rules for all of this.
Yep, social rolls.
Yeah. Okay.
Take that. Social conflict.
Can I have a page number for this real quick?
So starting on 280. So.
Thank you.
So the first thing we're going to do is whoever is attempting to deceive you is going to roll for that. If they succeed, they're going to create a trait that represents the lie you now believe.
Okay.
So they're basically, one of them is acting to
Mhm.
deceive.
Does the fact that we have the evidence of the Doctane give us a free point if we hit?
Yes. It that's on persuasion when you want to convince them of something or force them to do something. I don't think it helps in the deception stage. Because both deception
says-
and evidence are used to prepare for persuasion.
It says evidence can be used in conjunction with any other social tools, and their use is the driving force of those tools. But okay.
I'm looking specifically at where it describes its mechanical effect.
Okay.
It gives a specific mechanical effect for how it interacts with persuasion. And deception does the same for persuasion. And so I kind of think they're both used to prepare for the actual persuasion task.
Okay.
Because I did read that too, but I don't know how it would interact with deception.
That's fair.
Well, it's an opposed roll anyway, right? I would think it would just raise their the deceiver's difficulty by 1. Like normally it's a diff 0 roll off. It's like, well, yours is 1 extra because the people you're trying to fool have evidence that you're a spy. It's like, oh, you actually have a good reason to suspect I'm here.
Yeah, but it says specifically about persuasion that the difficulty can be altered by factors such as deception, evidence, intimidation, or negotiation. That's why I'm thinking the deception is separate from the evidence, but both are factors that someone can use against you in persuasion.
Mm.
So they can put the dagger in front of you as like, hey, you're trying to pull one over on me.
So not so much seeing through the deception, but if we actually like confronting them or
It could
interrogating
counter
them.
the deception because both are represented by traits. So they could say I succeeded at the deception, so the captain believes I'm innocent, but then the captain can add to the persuasion the evidence of the dagger and those two traits would cancel out and just be a normal opposed task.
Okay.
I would be interested if the designers ever did like a let's play and they walked through this though. Because I do feel I'd have to read it better. For now, I think the way I'm thinking it works is fair, but I do feel like I may have to reread this later. Okay, so
Okay, so you're rolling first?
Oh, okay.
yes. So they have a trait that's going to help. And this blows the whole game if you figured out. So they're going to use 3 of their personal threat on the value none can know my mission. And the other 3 threat with 3 off the table for maximum dice. And hope we roll like Inslee. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 1 from a talent and 1 from a trait. So difficulty 8 to see through the deception.
Difficulty 8. Okay.
Yeah, and failing this doesn't throw out everything else. Failing this gives them a trait
Trait.
that they can help when when we resolve actually your like demand that's gonna make everybody announce who they are, basically.
Sounds good. All right. Difficulty 8. We know the stakes now. Focus in rhetoric or diplomacy.
Rhetoric, yes.
Okay.
You could phrase this in a way that makes someone say something they didn't intend to.
And we have 2 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to spend 1 momentum and 5 threat to roll a full minute.
I will give you hits for 100 years of knowledge and commanding presence.
Okay, so that's 2 free hits. 2 free hits.
Actually, I take that back. Commanding presence will come later. This is
Okay.
not you convincing them to give themselves up. This is, can you see through the lie?
Yeah.
Which would be a different kind of trait.
Okay. That's not going to help. That might help later. Okay. Okay. Yeah, could I spend a determination on that which is not just is not law on the grounds that what we're working with, I guess it's kind of a stretch here because we're not dealing with the law here, we're dealing with deception. Okay. Could I go for logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end? That what I'm doing here is a bit beyond the realm of logic, but is in the realm of trying to deduce the subtleties of emotional features, facial
Yes,
expressions.
I would take that.
Okay. Okay.
Is that a callback in any way?
Let me double check. Yeah. So the last time I used this value, I called back to it and left ahead to diagnose the ship's chronometer's misalignment. I call back to that.
Yeah, I'll accept that on the thing of like noticing small issues that turn out to be important.
Right. So that makes this an arc. Okay. Okay. And so I'm going to roll 4 dice. I have 1 free hit, and I'm getting a +2. So that's 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10.
Okay.
Nice.
2 momentum gained, and you are not fooled. Trying to double check if you get to apply a trait in reverse. Okay. They get a complication, which I am going to turn into a trait, a negative trait for them of overly emotional. All right, so now we'll try the persuasion, where you kind of look across the faces, you pick out who you think it is, and are ready to make an accusation.
Okay.
So this is opposed again. You have the negative trait from the complication suffered during the deception because you saw through the lie, and you have the evidence of the dagger. So if this person is capable of taking stress, they could suffer stress rather than giving in. If they win outright, they just don't give in to the request. So your demand kind of falls on flat ears and everybody thinks you accused the wrong person.
Okay.
Or at least this has to continue. Because they may turn back and try to like persuade you that there is no traitor here. So you're the attacker now. You are
All right, so I roll first.
yes, you are setting the difficulty actually, sorry.
A focus in rhetoric, because this is about
Yes.
okay. Presence command.
Or security, but you could use command.
My security is 4 worse than my command, so you know what I'm.
Oh wow. A Vulcan captain.
Yeah. I like to threaten to use force. I'm very bad at actually using force.
That's what your Master at Arms is for.
Exactly. I delegate the fighting to someone else. Okay, how much momentum do we have?
3.
Okay. Momentum. Yeah, I'll spend 3 momentum for 4 dice. 3 momentum and 3 threat. I'll just roll 5. Can I spend my next determination, or my determination on my word is law, on the grounds that what I'm doing here is essentially using my commanding authority to say whoever is the traitor here, you must come forth,
Yeah,
for I already know who you are.
This is a worship, and this is a in some senses this is a worship, and this person might be acting as a spy, and that opens them up to lethal uses of force.
To say summary
Right.
execution, yeah.
I wouldn't phrase it that way because
okay.
you're not able to pass judgment, but it's like I could call security in here, and because you're in the captain's quarters on a serving naval vessel, they might use with all these dignitaries, they might default to using the lethal setting and be within the realm of their own legal protection, right? Like lethal force is on the table here. So I would accept that. There's basically nothing that you couldn't do at this moment that would have some legal justification.
Okay. And do I get a free hit from the evidence?
From the evidence, from the deception, and from commanding presence.
So that's three free hits. Okay. Rolling 4 plus 2.
Kaufman to assist here?
Yes.
Probably
Okay,
more like
that's
presence security, I would guess.
3. So that's 3, 5, 8. GM, can I activate the Legion of Honor to automatically incinerate that comp from existence? Actually, wait, what am I talking? I don't need to do that. I have Cautious Command. I can just re-roll that comp. Never mind. Okay, never mind.
The spirit of the Revere is with you.
Varder hasn't been born yet, so we can't pray to Varder yet.
No,
Yeah,
no,
now we
that's
have
just
to-
it. We prayed to the god
Not
that doesn't
rolling
exist
crit.
yet. It's time travel. It's all predestined.
Varder never had the power to give crits, though.
Yeah.
Whoa,
mean-
whoa! You can't be spreading heresy like that. Not in this chat.
Varder.
There are no challenge dice here. The Varder has no power.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, you're right.
I don't know what you're talking about. I see on my sheet right here, just under task rolls, a thing labeled challenge dice. I don't want to hear any more about your,
I
your,
see a thing right
your
here that says kick from
sectarianism.
server.
Oh no!
So do I.
Oh, that escalated.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people around here.
The
All right.
OK Corral of the Andromeda, huh?
Another 3 from the table spent to activate their value again.
Mhm.
Because it's kind of all on the table now, so.
Do, do, do. Oh, goodness
Okay,
gracious.
so talent, trait, full dice, and a value. They have 10.
They get 10 as well.
Yes, they did.
Do ties go to the attacker or the defender here?
It only gives what happens if one of you wins. So there is no, yeah, because there is no tie in 2E.
Well, there is. It's just that it in almost all the other opposed rolls, you get a base severity, which if the defender sets the difficulty, if you hit it, you get it. But with social rolls, your severity is based on how many successes you got over the other guy. So you may have won, but you're doing a severity of 0, unless you spent 2 momentum repeatable. Which we don't have any momentum on the table anyway.
I don't think so, because it says the severity of this is equal to the number of successes scored by the act. Okay, I guess if you read successes as not the number rolled, but the number, yeah. I was reading successes as the total hits, but that's not normally what successes means, right?
Yeah.
I can use Legion of Honor to make 2 momentum, but I don't know how much that helps.
It would actually start doing damage.
Yeah.
All right, then let's do that.
For every 2 momentum you can get, you would start doing damage.
All right.
They either have to
Sure,
take
I'll
1
activate
stress
the
or they
Legion.
have to give in.
Okay, so Legion of Honor giving you 2.
2 momentum that I'm spending on damage, yeah.
Okay, is that your only source of momentum or bonus momentum?
I think so.
Yes, Kaufman doesn't have the human superpower, the full human superpower suite. They just have they have faith in the heart, but that's it.
Yep, that's all we can do.
But it's
Alright,
like a conflict, so you can get multiple shots.
I will spend to soak this stress. One threat. This person is capable of doing that.
Okay. So I guess Solaris will say, I would like to help you in your cause because I would like to avoid the worsening of the living standards and democracy on your planet, but you need to do this with. I cannot negotiate anything, and I can't help you in any capacity if one of you is acting as a spy for the Klingons and is not telling me. In fact, being on the ship as a spy for the Klingons would put you in direct violation of the peace treaty and of Federation law.
The economic minister says there is an easy solution here. this treaty you've mentioned, I think the Klingons may stop their interference if it appeared that you were stopping any interference they might accuse you of, although I know you're not attempting any interference. So perhaps pulling back to the outer system could give us more time. And that is someone attacking you with a persuasion. You have 2 free hits apart from anything else because you have the evidence and the deception on your side.
Okay.
I'll spend everything because the game is up if he doesn't win.
Okay.
And he wants to do as much stress as possible to make.
Yeah.
Probably won't flatten you with this, but still, taking a ton of stress here would be bad.
So between talent, trait, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 free hits or 7 hits.
Oh god, 7 hits. Okay.
And I'll remind you, winning it doesn't do damage to him.
Yeah.
So I don't need to win, I just need him to lose. Okay.
Yeah, you just need to tie him.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have any determination right now.
You could always violate orders or your sacred held beliefs.
I feel like all of my beliefs go like I am acting in character right now. I don't Solaris isn't really violating any of her beliefs by arguing
You
with
could
him.
threaten to violate the treaty, which would challenge one of your directives.
Oh god. Maybe.
So one thing to keep in mind, even if you whiff this, unless they zero you out, like they do more stress, they can do more stress to you than your stress track, then they can't make you back
And
down right away.
The absolute maximum he could do is 7, which is you getting nothing.
Yeah.
All right. How much momentum do we have right now? Nothing.
Nothing. You spent it all.
Okay. Focus and rhetoric.
Yes, and free hit from commanding presence.
Okay. Okay. Presence command. 6 threat. I'm just gonna roll and see what happens. So that's 6 total. Can I get another assist
I
from
believe.
Nancy? As you know, we counter with the fact that that violates our agreement with you, and it's not in the treaty, and that's not wise in terms of security, and it's not working, and so I'm going to take the stress damage from this.
Okay, I'll spend 6 off the table and add that to the 1 hit he got over you to do 4 stress damage.
Okay.
Actually, you can give in, or you can take the stress. I don't want to.
No, yeah, no. I'm taking the stress. I'm not surrendering.
Okay. You need to trying to kind of order them to announce themselves didn't work, so you need some other kind of persuasion.
Yeah, we have other information that the other characters have, so if we swap scenes, I could definitely get that information.
That's fine if you want to.
Okay.
Okay. Scene change.
Okay.
Go to
Thank you.
the bridge.
Hmm.
Doctor, there may be stuff for you later, but feel free to jump into a support or involve yourself on the bridge.
Yeah, sure. Just let me know who you guys need me to pick up.
I do have an intention to come after the doctor here in a second because you're the other half of my proof.
Okay.
I desperately need the doctor to help me with this.
Okay, then it might actually just be fair to what I suggest is like this is one of those scenes where the doctor happens to be on the bridge just out of routine.
Yeah, I do have to go to the bridge occasionally to, file my daily report.
And the captain and the yeoman are not here, which is inconvenient. Yeah, so we go to the bridge where everybody else is. So right before Aratana was arrived, I think the chief engineer, you had some plan of your own.
Yeah, I wanted to send like tight beam communications to the other 3 ships of the squadron.
I will say that doing so requires the captain's permission.
Yeah.
Because like you can send useful information, but you can't make any request that they act on it without
Yeah, I was just
the
going to send
Commodore.
them like
Information.
warnings, like to the weird reading planet. Believe there may be a vessel.
Okay.
In
Sharing our
like
findings.
So
yeah, just
I guess-
sharing the findings. Like, be careful. Looks like there's a vessel there. There's some sort of encrypted communication going on. Antimatter planet. Look out. There may be some sort of unrest about to happen. Yeah.
I'll phrase it this way. There is a minimum difficulty you'll have to hit for each captain
Mhm.
to actually follow through on that rather than just think of it as like a curiosity, something I might check later. If the
Okay.
Commodore gives permission, that roll doesn't happen. They, as a matter of consequence, just have to follow through on it.
Well, then honestly, my next move would be, let's see, who all is? Am I are we pretending Vernie's here, or is he? What's the deal there?
Inverni is here narratively, yes.
Okay.
But Inverni is the executive officer of the Andromeda. Inverni has no authority in the squadron.
Right. My question is, can I call a yellow alert and say captain to the bridge?
You can. You just have to deal with the consequences if you do it and it's wrong. But you have that power.
Okay, because like I see on the screen that Inverni was there, but if he wasn't there,
we would
I would
count
be there.
in this situation Inverni as taking you at your word. Like Inverni doesn't double check you right away. They just take you at your word.
Right. So in this situation, with everything I've learned going on, I think I will call for yellow alert and then hit the communicator, captain to the bridge. Actually, I'll say Commodore to the bridge.
Yeah, I'm picturing like the captain is in the midst of like an exasperated like attempts to formulate a counter argument where she feels like
saved
God
by the yellow alert.
Yeah, and she says, "If you excuse me, I have an urgent security matter," and leaves. And as she does so, as she walks out, she's going to say to Sharon, "No one leaves that room, or no one not in a uniform leaves that room."
I'll be standing.
Okay. The Commodore arrives on the bridge then.
You don't know how grateful I am that I heard what you have for me.
You might want to hold off on that, Commodore. Looks like around the 4th planet, you have naval vessels, military vessels undergoing encrypted communications among junior officers as to whether or not to kick off some sort of action and trying to determine who is on side and who is not. There was a heavily encrypted transmission to the source of the gas giant with the odd reading that seems to be transmitted in the local language, something along the lines of "no suspicion," but I wasn't able to intercept it exactly. That's a reconstruction and may not be completely accurate. and there's an enormous amount of communication going back and forth between Tenra and the antimatter production planet, largely consisting of urgent personal messages and a ton of media messages, apparently trying to get people to protest en masse some sort of economic uh, uh, policies. I thought of warning the other ships directly, but I think they will pay more attention to the warnings if they come from you. And it does begin to seem like, from my communications intercept, that this entire system may be about to go off.
Yes, it does appear that it is about to go off. I have just been speaking with the ministers, and in addition to lying to my face while asking me to do massive favors for them, they are all deeply concerned about the threat of a military coup. Did you find all of this information yourself? I did not know you were a skilled cryptographer.
Nah.
I did a little reading on their way out here.
Well, I appreciate your light reading. It may have just saved our entire operation here. And
And
she, yeah,
indications are, I believe, that there is some sort of vessel hiding under the upper atmosphere of the gas giant. Also, I've managed to triangulate the location of the sender of the encrypted message to the gas giant, or at least their location when the message was sent from Tenra.
understood. Then, yes, let us communicate individually on a highly encrypted channel with all of the captains. I require status updates from them, and they need to be made aware that all of them should be ready for action. I want the ship to be at a permanent yellow alert from now on, as things could erupt at any moment.
Captain, may I share some advisory?
Yes, sir.
At present, this is not a Federation system, and engaging in I see
Hello.
people showing up on screen, so I'm about to
okay,
shut up.
okay, no, go ahead. This is me getting ready for
Okay.
something that was
Okay.
about to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll redo it. It's just you talking gives me time to set up.
Okay.
So
So without clear evidence that this isn't a Federation system, so we have a legality of force issue where we genuinely, unless you give authorization to intervene, we may be interfering with an internal matter. But as I made the captain aware, we have the Commodore, that there was a Klingon. One of the delegation was bearing a Klingon secret weapon, a intelligence knife of sorts. I don't know which one it was. I was going to ask the doctor and the Lieutenant Revere to identify specifically who. That may give us leave to intervene if this is the Klingons acting out of turn, but we definitely need to be careful about who we're shooting at, because right now we have no jurisdiction to be telling these people how they can live their lives.
Normally, I would concur with you, but given the context of very likely Klingon infiltration in this, I am proceeding. We will not do anything aggressive until we have absolute confirmation of Klingon interference, but we are going to continue to assume that it is likely. And yes, if you and the doctor could determine who that is, that would make the negotiations and our legality here significantly improved.
I will do what I can, but I am no diplomat.
That's not diplomacy required, Doctor. It's biology. Klingons are Klingons, and there have been reports of them trying to look like other aliens, much like how we can do it as well. But I'm hoping between yourself and Lieutenant Revere, we may be able to narrow down exactly who among the delegation is the Klingon spy. Assuming that it isn't a local who's been converted.
Do we know anything about what techniques they may use, if they're similar to ours?
That's more your realm of expertise, Doctor. I just know of the rumors.
Very well.
So where do Aratana and the Doctor head to? It's more a question: Do you do it here? Do you do it in the med bay? And is everyone present at the same time? Is it or do you try to do this one by one? Because that determines how much resistance you might get.
Yeah.
And what kind of help do you need from me? I got a bolt in 20 minutes, so if you need me some rolls.
I need you to ferret out from the computer which one of them had the knife when you pulled it off them. When I looked at it, it was just one big jumble, but the computer must, somewhere in the code, it must be on one of them. There's only the one knife after all.
I can probably do that. Revere will set to work.
So Aratana and the
Those-
Doctor doing this in the captain's ready room or med bay?
The captain's
Um,
ready room is currently occupied by
Yeah.
potential supplies.
Let's go to the med bay
Please
for
do
now.
it in the med bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, medbay gives us all kinds of plausible deniability.
Well,
Do you try to get them in here one at a time, or are you doing them all at once?
the intention is to get them one at a time, because basically we're going to use the captain's ready room as a brig. Like, I'll escort each one of them with the security detail. With one of the
Okay,
security.
so all three of
I
you
leave the-
at one
I-
time.
I leave the actual wrangling of these fine patients to you.
These two.
Yeah, what I meant is like how you're doing this is one person comes out, the three of you travel together with them to the doctor,
Yeah.
and then you take that person back and get another person.
I kind of like the idea of someone being at the door in case someone decides to leg it and just go wee. So two
it
of us will
does ma-
escort.
Okay, 2 escort, 1 at the door. Okay.
Yeah.
Go back to the bridge real quick as the Commodore is communing with the other captains. On screen, Commander Shalin of the Valiant Breaker, Commander Hidyat of the Sirius, and Commander Oliver of the Neptune.
Yeah. So she's going to say, Captains, I have come into contact with urgent security matters that require your attention. I am ordering all ships to remain at yellow alert until further notice, and I have many important files to transfer towards you. And I'm going to I'm going to order Kaufman to send a secure transfer. Is encryption engineering or security?
It is context dependent, but I
Okay,
default towards security most of the time.
Okay, then I'm going to send. We're going to request Kaufman send the data we have thus far on a secure channel to each of them.
Okay. Captain, the commander of the Sirius says, I assume all other orders you've given remain standing?
Until otherwise, yes.
Commander Shalin says, be advised, Commodore, I am greatly outnumbered by the local ships. They don't seem heavily armed, but they do seem to be military vessels, and I wouldn't be worried if I were in a Constitution, but on the Valiant Breaker, I don't know how long we could hold out if things go as bad as you make them seem.
Understood. Gather what sensor data you can and fall back towards the Andromeda's position.
Commander Hanyat says, or sorry, Commander Oliveira says, Commodore, any unrest could cause a catastrophe of impossible proportions on the planet here. I think I do have some legal justification, if need be, to enforce a sort of martial law, if need be, to keep things from getting out of control here. But
Yes, if need be, you have my authority to occupy any facilities necessary to prevent catastrophic antimatter damage. If we are in trouble for that later, we will stand together, but I will not allow that system to collapse.
all right. Because of the trait untested squadron, I'll go ahead and call for Presence Command. Difficulty 1 is something you'll get used to in the future of issuing these kind of commands, and they'll get used to, will become kind of trivial. But right now, they still actually kind of are reading your body language, and you're still trying to understand the kind of
Mhm.
how phrasing the orders makes them comfortable or less comfortable with what you're asking of them.
Okay. So that's Presence Command, a focus in rhetoric.
Yes.
Take it away. All right, that's good
One
enough.
momentum gained. All right. Disappear.
And before,
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
If you were going to say before the channel cuts.
Oh no, that was all. I was just
Okay.
going to say before he leaves, we should let Ensley.
Yeah,
do
that's what I was going
Okay,
to.
sorry.
Yeah. Lieutenant Revere can give me insight or reason, engineering or science. Difficulty 4.
Sorry, it was muted. Okay, I'll use engineering, reason engineering, spin towards the value of. I've got to figure this out since this probably will be my
I'll take
last
it.
roll. Difficulty 4, you said. So, I think I have a focus and effect that will work for this. So, I already got 2. Nothing on the board for anybody. Don't want to give you too much, but I'll give you 3 threat for 4 dice.
Okay.
And let's see how this goes. See, I told you guys. I do have a reroll for the crit. There we go. So that's 2.
Almost. 3. Oh, 4, 5. No, that's it.
Yep. Yep.
1 momentum gained.
Excellent.
Excellent, Smithers.
So the first kind of offered themselves up was the communications minister, who's been relatively quiet this whole time. As you're kind of walking down the hallway with them, Aratana, your communicator beeps from the chief, from the engineer. An engineer, you're confident it's the economics minister.
Okay. Revere to Artana, blah.
Just got back, but I was listening. I go over. I flick my communicator. I actually go to a wall panel and press it.
I've
Artana
got
here, go
that
ahead.
answer- I've got that answer you were looking for.
And who would that be, Lieutenant?
That'd be economics.
Who's the person I have?
You
Did
have
you-
the communications minister.
I did say that
Um,
right. Economics, correct?
At that
Yeah.
time, you hear a slight commotion that, had you got down to medbay, you might not have heard, coming from the captain's ready room. And you see even the other security officer near the kind of looks startled and kind of looks towards the door for a second.
I'll look to this person here and say, crewman, escort them to the med bay for their safety. And I'll rush
Hi,
over
Chief.
here.
All right, I missed Chief. They're trying. They run into the med bay, and as they do, they say, "Doctor, I think there's going to be some trouble in the captain's ready room.
Am I needed?
I think you will be soon." And Aratana, you reach the door, and the crewman is kind of standing next to the door, phaser drawn, looking at you. They kind of just assumed you would take control of the situation and are ready to follow.
Yeah, I draw my phaser and click the door open to look in. Kind of using the cover of the door at the same time, so I'm expecting immediately to be shot at or something.
You see the security minister kind of like unconscious. You see the grand steward kind of unconscious in his chair, and you see just, it looks like the yeoman was kind of like fighting tooth and nail, but just as you get in, a well-placed punch to the gut and then another to the head knocks the yeoman out. And you see the economics minister with a kind of toothy grin that you've seen only a few times before. And I believe I can't afford for them to go first. I think this is a combat where you have the initiative.
I'm gonna point my phaser at them, and I am gonna try. Oh no, they may be Klingon intimidation doesn't usually work, but I'll give them the warning anyway.
I was about to tell you for free. You've encountered Klingons enough to know that this is not going to end in intimidation.
Yeah.
Stun is your chance to get them alive. But if you give them an opening, this might end in death.
Actually, I'm gonna just rush up to them and try to nerve pinch them.
Okay.
I will note I am working against the value here. I'm not giving a warning. I'm just going at them.
I assume then determination for complication is, it doesn't sound like you're going to take the determination and not do this. Okay. Yep. The complication will be that instead of a melee attack, if he is the victor here, just as you go to pinch him, he's got the yeoman's actually he's got a phaser, he's got the captain's duty phaser like pointed right at your torso. So the return attack is going to be a ranged attack with a phaser if
Okay.
he's the one who wins. As that's the complication.
That makes sense to me. I believe he sets the diff though, because he's my target.
So he will roll as if resisting a melee attack.
Yeah, because if he out melees me, he gets a free shot, sort of thing.
Um, I'm looking at something.
Okay. Let's make sure it wasn't an
I think
audio
you
issue on my
can't
end.
choose. You can't choose to make a weapon that is normally stunned deadly, can you?
No, it has to be an option that it has, yeah. If I remember correctly. If you have a deadly weapon, then you can't make it stun.
And fists are never deadly.
Yeah, there. You need a talent to make them deadly, to have as an option.
Oh, phasers are stun deadly though.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so being that the weapon he's using is a phaser, he is going to make this a deadly attack, and he can do that without spending a threat.
Because
of
he's
Killer's
a Klingon.
Instinct.
He's a certain kind of Klingon, I should highlight.
Yeah, he doesn't have warrior spirit. He has Killer's Instinct, but he's not the type of Klingon that has warrior spirit yet. That's the thing I've mostly removed in favor of guile and cunning.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Oh, martial artist allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Literally, I don't have it. That's what Nerve Pinch is for. If I'm going to kill somebody, I use my phaser to do it. I don't kill people anymore. I'm in Starfleet. Supposed to knock them out.
You know, quick to action is a sucky thing to give NPCs with Narutanas floating around. It's basically a wasted talent.
Yeah.
Okay,
Why do you
and I
even
can't
try
really
at that
spend
point?
on anything.
Hmm?
Can't really spend on anything.
No.
So 2 successes.
I'm spending towards a value sometimes force is required to enforce compliance.
Yes.
Hand-to-hand combat. My traits don't make this any more likely to work.
And he was a down a stress, but he's got it back since then.
Fitness plus security, right? I had a momentum to buy, so
2 momentum gained.
he is looking at currently severity 4.
I don't have any threat. He goes down. I have to have threat for him to take stress.
Oh.
So you nerve pinch him, and the captain's phaser falls to the ground.
Very quickly, kind of kick it away from him, and then look over my shoulder. Crewman, get the
Crewman
doctor in
picks it
here.
up. Crewman picks up the phaser and then runs out. And I'm gonna guess the doctor was already on his way.
Yep, because I was informed that my presence may in fact be required.
Doctor, you step in and you see 4 unconscious people in the room.
I was told that I would. Oh dear.
Give me insight medicine difficulty 2 to triage.
Insight medicine, you say?
Yes.
Take a moment. I'll spend a momentum. Emergency medicine focus.
Yes. 2 momentum gained. You see no lethal injuries. In fact, you're fairly certain the attacker was going for incapacitation.
Good news. None of the people in this room seem to be in mortal peril. It would appear that whoever attempted to take them down merely wished to incapacitate them, but for what purpose I don't know.
This one's the one this one's the Klingon, according to Lieutenant Revere, and he did try to. He was the one who assaulted. I witnessed him assault the yeoman. I nerve pinched him to the ground. I don't think he suffered any injury beyond that.
Very good. I'll see if I can't confirm these suspicions with a thorough bioscan.
With your tricorder, give me insight medicine difficulty 4.
Okay.
Because he has a level of biomechanical and genetic manipulation that is state of the art.
Cool. Cool. Gonna spend. I do not believe I have a focus on this.
I would take surgery at a complication.
I'll go without. Let me just quickly double check.
I'd like to assist, by the way, just because I have medicine 3, so I might know a little bit about things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it especially tracks because, as said, you know the rumors about what this could be, and I haven't had the time to do any medical research yet. So, okay, I'm gonna spend the 3 momentum we've got. I'm going to.
I might suggest your decoration.
Oh, you're right. Hang on. Claw back that 3. I'm only gonna spend 1.
Two.
And then, yeah, I forgot about my Starfleet medical decoration. Yep, so that reduces it to diff 2. I'll just roll this as is, I think. And save my value to re-roll it if I, like, severely whiff this somehow.
1
And
momentum gained.
Yep, you get the momentum back.
This is in fact a medically altered Klingon to appear as a idol.
Well, it would appear that your suspicions are well-founded, and, well, to be completely honest, it would be, I think, more confusing if he was not a Klingon. As he shows Aratana the readings. Might I spend a momentum to ask the question if anyone else in this room is also Klingon?
You
Either the
can,
other two?
you can, and the answer is no.
Okay, worth asking, I think.
Although the soap opera reveal would be that yes, it's the Yeoman.
Yeah,
All right,
the
Doctor.
thought had crossed my mind.
All right, Doctor. I am going to. Oh, wait. I'm not Chief of Security. I can't do that. Crewman, could you watch him, please, so he doesn't attack any of us? I'll go to the door and chime.
He says, actually, she says, Chief, I should arrest them.
I kind of nod like yes, as I like, oh yeah, sure, go
Like,
do that.
She
And then
does have that responsibility, even as a crewman.
yeah, there's like a just way of go grab them, and then I'll hit the door, the wall communicator. Medical to captain. Medical. Sorry. Artana to captain.
Here.
We captured the economic minister, who is actually a Klingon in disguise. Yeoman and the other ministers were non-lethally injured, but otherwise are fine. Currently, the prisoner has been taken into custody by Shishirin. So we have evidence of their involvement and assault of persons in our protection, as well as a Starfleet personnel.
Understood. Do not let them out of that prison without my. This now gives us clear legal justification to continue our intervention, as we have now every reason to suspect Klingon intervention in this planet's politics. And I'm going to close the comm, and I want to turn to Kaufman and say, send a communication back to the fleet. It won't reach them in time, but we still have to do it in case the worst happens. Inform them that there's been Klingon interference on the planet and that they are to arrive here post haste.
Aye, Commodore. Transmitting. Then the scene changes. Um, we go to the overview where Revere will turn around and say, Commodore, the repeating clear signal has ended.
I'm sorry, the what signal?
There was a signal, the highest encryption signal was going from
Mhm.
Tanara to the purple planet here.
Mhm.
And he's saying that that it's no longer transmitting on with the same frequency.
Okay. And by the way, they,
You're right.
um,
They were
okay. Okay. Um, Understood. Then, so subtextually, am I to understand that that means it might be happening now?
That's up to you.
Okay. Can I make an insight roll then? Because I'm not entirely sure what this might mean.
I do not think you have enough information for me
Okay.
to give that roll. Someone has said aloud a suggestion that if you brought it back up, I might give you the roll, but they
Okay.
were kind of guessing, I think. So I tend not to give that unless you can make some suggestion as to why you might be interested.
Okay. Then what I'm going to say is reorientate the ship towards the planet and make a sensor scan to see if we can detect movement from the planet.
Try to find if anyone's hiding there.
Well,
You-
we have reason to believe someone is hiding there, but I
Yeah.
want to see if they're gonna come out.
You do detect them come out.
Okay. In that case, once they have that confirmation, I'm going to order the ship to red alert.
All right. That's going to trigger a combat.
Hi.
At that same time, you get transmissions from the Neptune asking for final permission to land away parties to secure with force if necessary the antimatter generators.
Okay.
And you get a communication from the Valiant Breaker that the conglomerate's full fleet is moving towards the main planet.
Okay. Okay.
You can deal with one of these. Maybe you can come up with some out of the box solution to deal with two of these, but I doubt you can stretch yourself to all three of these.
Mhm.
And because we're approaching that time, your primary focus is probably going to be next episode, unless somehow you can figure to split up the crew.
No. I think we're just going to have to hope that what's the ship again? This is the Neptune, or is
The
this?
Neptune.
We're just gonna have to hope that the Neptune has it, and I think our primary goal has to stop Klingon interference, on this system.
Sorry, I did skip ahead a little bit because important
Oh.
information. You do realize a problem.
Mhm.
Why this is more dangerous than you expect it to be. The Sirius's shields are down despite being at yellow alert.
Oh, okay.
They are likely to get caught by the Klingon in at least one volley if the Klingon
Mhm.
decides to attack. You don't know what they're going to do, but you looking over the ensign's shoulder can clearly see that the Klingon
Mhm.
has the Sirius dead to rights for at least one volley, depending on how good
Uh-huh.
their tactical officer is.
Mhm. Yeah, well,
Um,
yeah, this is our primary obligation, is stopping the Klingons. Everything else is secondary. We have to hope the Neptune can hold itself and we can loop back around to the planet after. So is it our turn first, or are we not in combat yet? Or okay, we're just deciding where we're going first.
What are you doing? What orders do you give to the Valiant Breaker?
We can't have them fight the whole fleet by themselves, and this might get really bad. So I'm gonna order them to come along
Support
with
you.
us.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what I'm going to have is Griffin give us a warp roll, and you can assist with presence command.
Mhm.
And you can try to apply some traits to the start of next episode's scene.
Okay. So I'm doing a direct here, essentially.
You could couch it that way, yes.
All right.
Yes, Engine's Con.
All right. Go ahead, Griffin.
All right. Base difficulty on this?
Increased difficulty because because of the trait Untested Squadron that you're trying to make a tandem tactical warp. You're not just jumping over there. You're jumping over there with the Valiant Breaker in formation in attack pattern.
Yeah.
So yeah, y'all still haven't totally worked out how to do that because both you and their comms officer, their helm officer are used to being the only ship within
Mhm.
several light years of each other.
I mean, technically, I do have a history of doing things like this with smaller ships, much
You
smaller.
do, and he doesn't,
Yep.
He's not used to
and
us
that's
yet.
the problem. Yeah.
Like, you sure we can do that? Yeah, totally. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I did this in Atmosphere back in the war. You what?
I think the base difficulty is 0 though.
All
Yeah,
right.
if you set me up with a simulation and let me try 100 times, I can do that like at least one of the times, maybe two.
So I think this
Uh-huh.
makes it difficulty 1.
Cool. Does nerve pain hurt me here?
It increases the complication by 2 because you
Dexterity.
sometimes yes, some of
Yeah.
your dexterity hurts. Sometimes you have trouble, like you look down, your hand is on the directional controls, but you can't feel the actual controls. You just have to like know that your hand is there.
Mm-hmm. It sucks.
Doctor should do something about that.
Really should, yeah. Is Brazen hurting me?
It's helping in that you have no hesitation in executing maneuvers like this from the captain, but it's hurting in the sense that the other guy he isn't prepared to do this.
Right.
So it's not helping or hurting it because it's pulling 2 ways.
All right. Then I will throw.
Actually, I tell you what, renowned Starfleet crew, you have enough of a reputation that I'll allow 1 point of Brazen to basically be canceled out instead of both of them.
Okay.
So so you can have one point of brazen, as you're renowned enough that the other guy, he can't do the kind of stuff you do, but he trusts to just input the commands you transmit to him.
He can fly my wing. He can't
Yeah.
lead the maneuver.
Yeah.
All right. I will spend 1 momentum for a third die then.
Ba-doop, ba-doop.
Focus in combat maneuvers.
Yes.
All right. You know what I forgot to do?
What?
Roll to see if I kept my determination with veteran.
Probably should do that.
You should do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick. Just in case it ends up mattering.
Because
just
rules
roll a
19 who
D20.
matters.
Yeah.
You rolled a d10?
Equal or I sure did. Hey, that's
I think I
even
want to
better.
take your first roll.
The first roll would have still worked.
Okay.
So I do have a determination if anything goes wrong. Like
And it
that.
did.
Sure, I'll re-roll that.
To what value? Or directive?
Yeah, can I spend toward the value, treat her like a lady and she'll always bring you home?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you rough her up now, she's not going to help you once she's been shot up.
Exactly.
Context matters, folks.
Odd.
Klingons, canonically, Klingons like it this way, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
Boy.
Alright, re-rolled the comp and all is going well now.
Okay, 3 momentum gained and the captain's assist.
Okay, so I have advisor, so you can re-roll anything you want to re-roll. I don't think that matters. But I also have metal advisor, medal of valor, which means when I use a direct task, they may treat their d20 as if they had rolled a 1. So just imagine I've put a 1 on a table and that I have generated 2 extra hits for you.
Oh,
Okay,
wonderful.
so the two of you can create traits worth. I think you can create 2 traits or 1 power 2 trait.
Yep.
1
You
potency
can probably
2
do 2 power 2 traits because we have 6.
Oh, you have momentum on the table. That is correct.
Yeah.
They need to be related to your quick combat reaction or your command of the situation.
Could one of the traits be Sirius warned? That like the Sirius is more time to prepare, even if they can't raise their shields, they have more time to get people in place.
No, because they have 2 complications that have forced this.
Perhaps one of us
Oh,
jumps
okay.
in the way.
Yeah, I was going
Okay.
to suggest that. Defensive combat positioning as a trait.
Essentially, we've warped to be in between the two of them.
So what I mean is the complications have already happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Generally,
They
Then
can't do
I'll go-
anything, but
you couldn't use traits to undo a complication. You can use it to mitigate or like help on the back end.
Okay, then can we add the trait of Klingon surprise to the Klingons thought they had
You could do that.
that they thought they had 1 ship dead to rights, and now they're outnumbered 3-1, and that spooks them. If that sounds good to people.
sounds good to me.
Yeah,
Alright.
works for me.
Don't that just be a rating 1 or 2?
And then do we want to make a second rating 2 check that's like
I apologize. We can only make 1 2 and 1 1 because we have 6.
Okay.
It takes 2 to create a trait.
okay, well do people have ideas for another trait?
So to clarify, Winchester, we can't do anything related to positioning that would like shift the negative
So
towards us rather than towards them?
So the complication's not a trait. I didn't use the complication to create a trait that has a value of 1 that you creating a trait of value of 1 can just override, right? The
Mhm.
complication is that they start the combat with their shields down.
Right. So I don't necessarily want
And
to
that
change
they
their
get
shield
at
being
least
down.
1 hit on target. That's the second complication.
Okay, second.
They're pre-targeted.
Got it. Cool. They're pre-targeted. Does that mean they're pre-hit though? Like, could we make that shot harder? Like, they'd still get that shot, but like maybe we could make it rather than a 0, make it like a difficulty 2 or something.
Because we do have a point defense system, so if we are like parked on top of them, if they fire a torpedo at them, then our point defense can catch it. If we're sitting on top of them, if they shoot at them with the disruptors, there's not a whole lot we can do, really. But
Yeah.
doesn't change the shield or anything, because if they get past our difficulty increase, it won't matter. They'll hit the target and it has its shields down anyway, so they're kind of in trouble to begin with.
Yeah, I'm reading the talents real quick.
Oh, shoot. Nope, wrong one. Try again.
What I will do is you can create a trait that could count as cover for them.
Yeah, it's kind of
using kind of with reference to the actual keyword cover rather than you interposing yourself. This would be half that, half you firing, half or a third your point defense system. So they'll be treated as if they have 1 cover if you create a trait.
then I'd like to do that.
Sounds good. You want to make that trait level 2 and Klingon Surprise level 1?
I'll do that either way it works. Depending on.
All right, so tactical surprise 1 and suppressing fire 2.
Sounds good.
Just telling the other ship, we're coming out guns blazing, follow my fiery marks.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine how frustrated you would be if you think, you're the Klingon captain. Maybe you didn't get to participate in the war, and you think this is like the one chance you would ever get to take out a Starfleet vessel cleanly, and then out of nowhere, 2 more show up, and now you're completely boned.
I don't know. You if you ask me, do I without reference to who's the hero in the story, you ask me, do you want to be on the side of the 3 Andromedas at scale 2 or do you want to be in the D4 battle cruiser? One of those sides is stacked against the other.
Well, it's a fair fight, scale-wise, anyway. It's like, okay, this isn't just stomping them. This is actually a fun fight
Actually,
for a
you
Klingon.
do have more scale. You have
See, now it's a glorious fight. You're outnumbered.
yeah,
It's worth
they
your
have
time
scale
now.
4. You have a total of scale 6. Although it's very likely that you end up only fighting this battle with scale 4.
They're welcome. They can give us gifts later. And by gifts, it's probably going to be shot at. But, you know.
So, yeah, we'll pick up next week and see if the Commodore made her first split-second decision in a way that solves all of the problems, or leaves the 10th Fleet without a scouting squadron.
We should.
Who needs a dirty scouting squadron?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I'm just as good as I'm just as good on my own. Okay.
but that was Archer class diplomacy.
And with that, everyone watching, thank you very much for watching. That could have gone a lot worse, I think, security-wise. Not terribly pleased I didn't get the. I'm pleased we got the guy. I'm very worried about how safe our ship is. But hey, that's for next time. And also, thank you all for watching. Thank you for playing. Those of you playing, thank you for playing and for running. And oh my goodness, I'm awake, I swear. Look forward to seeing you all next time to see how well we do. Have a good one. Bye. I have needed so much caffeine today. It's one of those long days.
The Master Chief and the engineer got that guy dead to rights, though. I mean,
yeah,
never left alone, never left with a weapon, except what complications could give him.
Yeah, that could have been massively worse if he was like wandering around where he wanted. Or...
And the captain did not stress him out, but in order not to give up, hey, I'm here on a secret mission and I got a Klingon cruiser supporting me, Solaris made him eat all my threat to keep that cruiser hidden.
Mm-hmm. So that really helped me out because it came down to that one stressful moment of, it's like, I have no stress to resist you.
Yeah, no, he couldn't really put much into the fight because he gave everything he had to not give the Vulcan what felt like reading his mind an inch.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? Is